Hey guys, before we get started with this video, yes, I'm playing this in VR. By now you should know that I have a habit of constantly making my life miserable with the challenges I've taken on so far. I purposely chose the worst game I've ever seen because today is a funny day. Or so I think. Where I'm from, the date is different. I think it was September 28th or something like that. Anyway, I was thinking I could start making videos giving tips and strategies for avoiding the entities. Maybe throwing in a lot of memes. Though I honestly don't think my sense of humor is similar to yours. Although I won't post anything here. I came up with this idea the day before uploading it, and I'm editing this at 4 AM. Anyway, the tutorial videos would be in this voice. What do you think? I know it might be a really weird voice, but it's very distinctive. And yes, it's the voice in the meme, because the key tastes better than bread. I think you can get used to hearing this voice pretty quickly. Sure, at first it'll be weird to hear such an outlandish voice, but that's exactly what I'm going for, an artificial voice that's very recognizable. Plus it makes me laugh a lot. At some point, you'll start reading my own comments, replies, or posts with this voice in mind. This also opens up the possibility of creating more varied content for Grace, including my own opinions, my sense of humor, or anything I couldn't do before because I was only speaking by placing small text boxes next to the TV with John inside. I'm sure each of you has formed a very different and varied image of me based on the very little you've seen of me in the content I've uploaded so far. In reality, none of you could have really gotten to know me properly. The only exception being the Spanish speakers who watched a few live streams I've done, which, by the way, is very unlikely, but if you're one of them. My live streams are hidden, but listed in the channel's playlist if you want to watch them again. Continuing with what I was saying earlier about creating more varied content, I'm aware that I'll eventually run out of challenge videos, not because I have few challenges to do, but because the vast majority will start to look very similar to one another. Whenever a challenge starts to have many modifiers, it will begin to be identical to the others. Simply because of that, I always try to make my content varied, even if it doesn't seem like it. I always try to improve my content, at least in terms of editing. Do you like the minimal editing I put into the videos? By the way, even though it might not seem like much, it actually takes me a lot of effort to make the videos. I always have to export and edit a lot of images to get the look I want. And between everything else and not having that much free time to make the videos, in the end I can't dedicate as much time to it as I'd like. That's one of the reasons I don't spend as much time playing Grace. You've noticed, right? I don't spend my free time on Grace, at least not all of it. There was a time when I did, and I ended up burning out on Grace because I wasn't playing anything else, due to how little free time I had. So for a long time, I ended up ignoring the game and leaving my channel inactive because of my studies. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. I'm always trying to improve my editing. I think in every video you can always find something a little better than the last one. And also, that there are always 2 or 3 editing mistakes. As you can imagine, if I don't have much time to play Grace, I don't have much time to edit either. Although 90% of the time it takes to create a video is spent editing. Anyway, I've talked enough. Everything I've said is mostly just to fill out this video, since I'm already putting in a lot of effort for a silly April Fool's Day prank. Still, if somehow your brain hasn't been eaten away by TikTok, and you've managed to listen to everything I've said, I can only tell you, thank you for sticking around even for the worst content I've ever uploaded. Although, come to think of it, maybe it's because this is the first time I've spoken in a video. It might be boring to watch this. Forgive me. In my next voiceover videos. I promise I'll include memes and make them more entertaining to watch. I'm going to let the rest of the video play out to hit the 15-minute mark, so the joke is at least somewhat believable. Thanks for listening to, well, It looks like there's no way out. I'm not going to do all this again, so this game is over. It's genuinely the worst game I've ever played in my life, just as I expected. And surely the worst game you've ever seen in your life. The prank was less funny than I expected, but it's my fault for not planning it in time and not being able to include memes in the video. Remember, I'm editing this at 4 a.m. So, it's time. Goodbye.